Yes, Chair, we just got quorum. We can begin.
Great. Good morning, members of the MAG Transportation Review Committee. As a reminder, please turn your mics on and clearly state your name before speaking to ensure that members of the audience can hear you. And please mute your mics when not speaking to eliminate any feedback noise. Because this is a virtual meeting, a roll call will be taken for each action item on the agenda. Phone-only attendees will need to press *6 to unmute themselves. We will now begin the meeting with a roll call of all members. Linda.
Thank you, Chair. When I call your name, please indicate you are present for the record. Shahid Abbas. Grant Anderson.
Here.
Thank you. Keith Brown.
Here.
Thank you. Jason Crampton.
I'm here.
Thank you. Kristen Teitler for Mark Dorsey.
Here.
Thank you. Keith Dranowski.
Here.
Thank you. Jorge Gastelum. Jason Hafner.
Present.
Thank you. Henry Ikwat Ukwa.
Present.
Thank you. David Janover.
Here.
Thank you. Kinney Knudsen.
Here.
Thank you. Scott Lowe.
Here.
Thank you. Adina Lund.
Here.
Thank you. Hal Marin. Jamie McCracken. Mark Melichenko. Sumit Mohan.
Here.
Thank you. Paul Mood.
Here.
Thank you. Paul Patney.
Here.
Thank you. Christopher Salas. Shelley Seiler. Bob Thaxton. Raj Thadam. Chris Wanamaker.
Here.
Thank you. Mike Weber.
Here.
Thank you. Steve Wilcox. Herschel Workman. Mohammed Yosef.
Here.
Thank you. And Chair.
Here.
Thank you, Chair. We do have a quorum. Have I missed anybody?
Yeah, boss is present.
Oh, thank you.
Mark Melnichenko's here.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
Raj Thornton from City of Avondale is here.
Thank you. Chair, we do have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Moving on to item number 2, a call to the audience. This is an opportunity for the public to comment, for public comment on the agenda that was provided ahead of the meeting. Linda, have we received any public comments?
Chair, we have not received any public comments for this agenda item or any agenda item.
Great, thank you. Moving on to item number 3, Transportation Policy and Planning Director's Report. Tim Stroh, MAG Transportation Policy and Planning Director, will provide a report to the Transportation Review Committee on activities of general interest. Mr. Stroh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Transportation Review Committee. Hope everybody's doing well. We do have a new member this month, but Mark is not attending. Kristen's sitting in his place. We're going to have Mark Dorsey, city engineer from the City of Surprise, sitting on TRC. So maybe we'll see him next month. I do have a few updates and reminders for the committee. The first one is on September 16th, ADOT opened the new Loop 202 interchange at Lindsay Road. In addition to the new interchange, the project includes a westbound Loop 202 frontage road between Lindsay and Gilbert Road. This project will provide drivers with more opportunities to exit and enter the growing community. This interchange is part of a $21.7 million project that started construction early last year. The project was funded in part by Prop 400, include federal funding and some contributions from the town of Gilbert. So congratulations to ADOT and Gilbert on opening up that project. My next item is a warning, passing some caution to the group. The I-17 Anthem to Sunset Point project is starting construction. I know that I came down from Flagstaff on Saturday and I saw construction equipment starting to be staged. This project is starting, like I said, construction this week. The project limits extend 23 miles from Anthem Way to Sunset Point. Project includes widening 15 miles of Interstate 17 to include additional lane in each direction and 8 miles of flex lanes. The flex lanes will include 2 lanes that will be located next to the I-17 southbound lanes. Project will add capacity, reduce congestion, and make it safer corridor for travelers visiting the communities to the north. But construction is anticipated to take approximately 3 years to complete. The total cost of the project is about $446 million, which includes $50 million in Prop 400 funds, along with state and federal funding. More information on the project, you can go to improvingi17.com. Next item is I'd like to remind the committee that October is National Pedestrian Safety Month. Please go to seemeaz.com for driver, bicyclist, and pedestrian safety tips. We also have data and materials that you can share with your community. MAG staff is always here to support you. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Margaret Herrera or Chris Gottsacker with more information.
Mr. Chair, Tim, can you repeat that website address, please?
seemeaz.com.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next item is regarding the MAG Regional Electrification Strategic Plan. This project recently just kicked off. We're seeking designated representatives from each member agency to participate. The commitment includes several stakeholder meetings throughout the project process and a review of work materials as needed. Stakeholder coordination for this project is going to be absolutely critical. So please let us know if you are available. I know that we reached out to the intergovs to work with their internal processes to find a representative. Kara Nassar, MAG staff member, is managing this project. Please feel free to reach out to Kara after the meeting. If you need her contact information, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll provide that for you. Mr. Chair, that completes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Sherrill. Moving on to item number 4, approval of the consent agenda. Items 4A and 4B are on the consent agenda. Are there any items members wish to be taken off the consent agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve consent items 4A and 4B?
Move to approve, City of Buckeye.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Mohammed Yusuf.
Thank you, Mohammed. Linda, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Thank you, Chair. When I call your name, please indicate how you vote. Shahid Abbas.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Grant Anderson.
Aye.
Thank you. Keith Brown.
Aye.
Thank you. Jason Crampton.
Aye.
Thank you. Kristen Tytler.
Aye.
Thank you. Keith Dranowski.
Aye.
Thank you. Jason Hafner.
Aye.
Thank you. Henry Ikwat Ukwa.
Yes.
Thank you. David Janover.
Aye.
Thank you. Kenny Knudsen.
Aye.
Thank you. Scott Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you. Adina Lund.
Aye.
Thank you. Mark Melichenko.
Aye.
Thank you. Sumit Mohan.
Aye.
Thank you. Paul Mood.
Aye.
Thank you. Paul Pattonay.
Aye.
Thank you. Shelley Seiler.
Aye.
Thank you. Bob Thaxton.
Aye.
Thank you. Raj Thoutum.
Aye.
Thank you. Chris Wanamaker.
Aye.
Thank you. Mike Weber.
Aye.
Thank you. Mohammed Yosef.
Aye.
Thank you. And Chair, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Have I missed anyone? Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 5, second project deferral request, Town of Gila Bend Unified School District walkable, bikeable perimeter. Item number 5 on the agenda will be presented by Kay Bork, MAG Transportation Planning Project Manager. This item is on the agenda for action. Ms. Bork.
Thank you, Chair and committee members. This next item for your consideration and action is a second project deferral request from the Town of Gila Bend, and this is for their Gila Bend Unified School District Walkable Bikeable Perimeter Project. The town's first project deferral was approved by MAG Regional Council in May of 2021. A first project deferral request can be made without justification. However, a second project deferral must provide explanation of specific problems beyond the control of the agency's financial commitment, and a revised schedule to address those identified issues. The Active Transportation Committee recommended approval of the town's deferral request at their September 20th meeting. Since that meeting, staff have worked with the town of Gila Bend on a revised schedule to align with their resources as well with MEG's project programming guidelines. The updated schedule is included in your agenda summary and in the upcoming presentation by the town of Gila Bend. Kathy Valenzuela, town manager, and Dick Wallace, town engineer, are here today to present their deferral request to the committee. And with that, I would like to turn it over to the town of Gila Bend. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kay. Appreciate that. Next slide, please. Good morning, Chair and members of the Transportation Review Committee. Attached, you'll find a picture of the town of Gila Bend. The school location is noted, and so you can see it's about 1 mile north of our main thoroughfare, Pima Street. So that's about a mile that the students would need access to. Well, that's why we would need the sidewalks and bike lanes. Next slide, please. The project location shows the school's location. The town of Gila Bend is located about 33 miles southwest of Buckeye. So we're near the intersection, the ending point of Highway 85. Interstate 8 runs just south of us, headed to California. So that's our approximate geographic location. You can see the new school orientation there. Again, and so just to the north of the school location is also the San Lucie reservation. So we do have a number of students from San Lucie attending Gila Bend Unified School District as well. Next slide, please. So on this map, you can see outlined in blue is the latest new school that was built. So looking at it in blue, the school location and orientation is different from the old school. The old school is to the right on the diagram. It's just above Stout Street. That school is no longer in use. And so Gila Bend Unified is simply functioning out of the highlighted area in blue. So the school drop-off points and orientations have changed. This brand new school was passed by a bond that wasn't anticipated at the time of this grant submission. A previous bond had already failed. So it was an unexpected, unexpected positive thing for the community, but it did have an effect on our schedule. Next slide, please. So the significance of this work is that there's a brand new school there, which looks great, but we don't have, sidewalks and bike lanes to support a safe passage to school. And so that's the primary driver for this project. Of course, part of that is having the safe routes to school study done to be sure that, the design is informed by the way the students actually use the routes. So again, the goal is to be able to get to school safely, either via biking or walking, improve pedestrian safety, and of course, improve physical health for the students would be an additional outcome as well. Next slide, please. Okay. Dick, can I hand this off to you, please, for the project summary?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So the idea is, so currently MAG with Jacobs Engineering is doing a study to determine the appropriate locations for facilities. So the locations of sidewalks bike facilities, those kind of things are yet to be determined. That study will be wrapping up at the end of December this year. And that will help us determine the appropriate locations for these facilities are kind of outlined here, either be sidewalks, bike lanes, or some minimal landscaping that the town can maintain and provide appropriate shade and neighborhood aesthetics. Next slide. You want me to do this, Kat?
No, that's okay. I got it. So for the first deferral request, the part of it was due to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. So we've had to defer design to fiscal year 22 and construction to 23. However, our second deferral was meant to address the study that was paused because students were not, again, COVID related, not attending class. And so without true data based on how the students are actually getting to and from school, it did not seem wise to continue until we were able to complete that study. So the request is to defer design from fiscal year 22 to fiscal year 24, and then construction from 23 to fiscal year 25. Next slide, please. On the town's behalf, the town is committed and has the funding slated in our CIP for fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 25 with the new dates of fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 25. So we will initiate the project with ADOT in the summer of 23 to ensure our project schedules can be met. Next slide, please. This new project schedule shows dates when milestones need to occur. So project initiation in July of 23, IGAs in September of 23, design authorization in October of 23, and then continuing on down, bearing in mind that this does give us time to successfully plan for these items. And so we are confident in this schedule. Looking at a construction authorization, ready to go in May of 25. And then of course, following all of the procurement steps slated on through ending in the summer of 2026. Next slide, please. Again, thank you so much for your consideration of this request, and Mr. Wallace and I are happy to take questions if you have any. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions before we entertain a motion?
This is Scott Lowe from Buckeye.
Go ahead.
So I'm just relating back to years ago when I was a federal contracting officer. It seemed that federal funds had an expiration date of about 5 years. So I'm just wanted to make sure that the federal funds that were actually put forth to this aren't going to expire because of the fact that now we're up to federal or fiscal year 25.
And Chair, I can answer that question. This is Kay.
Please go ahead.
And we did confer with Patrick Stone, the TIP project manager, with the schedule, and he is confident that their schedule will meet our federal programming guidelines.
Thanks. That's the only concern I had, because I certainly wouldn't want them to start on their project and then suddenly find that the federal funds expired.
Sure.
Very good point. Are there any other questions or comments? Is there a motion to recommend approval of the second deferral for the town of Gila Bend Unified School District walkable, bikeable perimeter projects?
Buckeye recommends approval.
Thank you.
Henderson, second.
Thank you. Linda, we have a motion and a second. Please take the roll.
Thank you, Chair. When I call your name, please indicate how you vote. Vote Shahid Abbas.
Aye.
Thank you, Grant Anderson.
Aye.
Thank you, Keith Brown.
Aye.
Thank you, Jason Crampton.
Aye.
Thank you, Kristen Teitler.
Aye.
Thank you, Keith Dranowski.
Aye.
Thank you, Jason Hafner.
Aye.
Thank you, Henry Ikwat Ukwa.
Aye.
Thank you, David Janover.
Aye.
Thank you, Kenny Knudsen.
Aye.
Thank you, Scott Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you, Adina Lund.
Aye.
Thank you, Mark Melichenko.
Aye.
Thank you, Sumit Mohan.
Aye.
Thank you, Paul Mood.
Aye.
Thank you, Paul Patney.
Aye.
Thank you, Shelley Seiler.
Aye.
Thank you, Bob Thaxton.
Aye.
Thank you, Raj Thoughtum.
Aye.
Thank you, Chris Wanamaker.
Aye.
Thank you, Mike Weber.
Aye.
Thank you, Mohammed Yosef.
Aye.
Thank you, and Chair, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Have I missed anybody? Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 6, locally preferred alternative for the Valley Metro Light Rail Transit Capital Extension Project. Item number 6 on the agenda will be presented by Hannah Quincy, MAG Transportation Planner. This item is on the agenda for action. Ms. Quincy.
Thank you and good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the Transportation Review Committee. I'm pleased to be here this morning to present. Next slide, please. Today, I'm presenting the revised locally preferred alternative for the Valley Metro Light Rail Transit Capital Extension Project for action. This project, listed in MAG's Momentum 2050 Regional Transportation Plans list of future high-capacity transit projects, is funded by Prop 400, and it will operate between downtown Phoenix and the Arizona State Capitol. The project will enhance mobility and multimodal transportation, and it will address growth by extending high-capacity transit to the Arizona State Capitol. This is an employment node serving thousands of employees. It's a regional activity center, and it's a historic resource, as well as a corridor that is overwhelmingly transit dependent in comparison to the region. The Capital Extension is the first and long-awaited step to expand high-capacity transit farther into the West Valley. Next slide, please. The Capital Extension project is a 1.4-mile light rail project. This high-capacity transit project was included in the 2003 MAG Regional Transportation Plan, as well as Proposition 400. From 2007 to 2014, the Capital Extension was considered the first segment of a larger project formerly called the Phoenix West Extension. In 2014, the larger project was renamed to the Capital I-10 West Extension. And in 2016, the project was split into 2 phases. The segment of the project from downtown to the state capitol was called Capital I-10 West Extension Phase 1, while the segment from the state capitol to 79th Avenue I-10 Park and Ride was called Capital I-10 West Extension Phase 2. Each of these 2 phases was placed on its own timeline for implementation. Then, in early 2021, Valley Metro separated the 2 phases into distinct projects with designated names and acronyms. The project I'm presenting today is now called the Capital Extension, with CapEx as its shorthand acronym name. Next slide, please. The first step in the development process for a high-capacity transit capital project is the initiation of an alternatives analysis, or otherwise called AA. As a part of this process, a study is conducted to look at a range of reasonable multimodal alternatives, as well as general alignment options. At the conclusion of the alternatives analysis, a locally preferred alternative is identified, which is also called an LPA. I want to highlight how this project's original 2012 LPA compared to the current revised LPA. The capital extension portion of the original 2012 LPA for the total 11-mile single-phase project that ran from downtown Phoenix to the 79th Avenue I-10 Park and Ride is shown on the map on the left. The capital extension portion of this alignment followed as a single track couplet along Washington and Jefferson Streets, west from 1st to 7th Avenue, and as a double track along Jefferson Street west to 18th Avenue. Then it turned north along 18th Avenue next to the state capitol to Van Buren Street, and then traveled along to the rest of the alignment. This new revised LPA, which differs from the 2012 LPA, resulted from a two-tier reevaluation of the corridor at the direction of the Phoenix City Council. The reevaluation effort took place between 2019 and 2021, and it sought to examine new options and configurations that were previously unexplored and consider feedback from additional community and stakeholder outreach and workshops. In 2021, the 2012 LPA was revised, extending the single track to 19th Avenue to form a loop. Next slide, please. With the completion of an alternatives analysis and a reevaluation, the recommended alternative that emerged is shown on your screen. The revised CapEx LPA will extend light rail via a 1.4 mile long alignment, which follows a single track loop configuration from the South Central Extension downtown hub at 3rd Avenue, traveling west along Washington and Adams Streets, and south along 19th Avenue and east along Jefferson Street to 3rd Avenue. The LPA map on the screen shows 3 station target areas identified for future consideration. This alignment was recommended because it offers the greatest level of multimodal mobility performance, the lowest potential for right-of-way acquisitions. It is acceptable for cultural and sensitive impacts, and it best addresses the safety needs of the state capitol. It also has the highest amount of community support. And I did want to note that the full CapEx LPA report can be accessed online via the Valley Metro website. Next slide, please. Valley Metro began preliminary engineering in late 2021 to develop the initial design and engineering work to a level of design that establishes the location of key project components and to establish a capital cost estimate. The preliminary capital cost estimate for CapEx is $585,659,000. The capital cost funding sources are shared by the City of Phoenix sales tax funds, about 22%, 30% coming from the regional public transit funds, otherwise called Proposition 400 funds, and 48% from the FTA Capital Investment Grant. The source of operating costs are shared between the City of Phoenix and Farebox revenues. And we have a planned open for revenue service date of December 31st, 2027. Next slide, please. On November 3rd, 2021, the Phoenix City Council approved the revised CapEx LPA. And on November 18th, 2021, the Valley Metro Board of Directors also approved the revised CapEx LPA. LPAs must be approved by MAG for required air quality conformity analysis and inclusion in the Momentum 2050 MAG Regional Transportation Plan, which brings us to the action before you today. Next slide, please. And with that, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, this concludes my presentation. The action requested is shown on the screen. The action listed before you is to recommend approval of the locally preferred alternative for the Capital Extension Light Rail Project and revised open to service date of December 31st, 2027 in the Momentum 2050 MAG Regional Transportation Plan contingent on a finding of air quality conformity. Thank you, and I'd be available now to answer any questions from the committee.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions before we entertain a motion?
Anderson, yes, I have a lot.
Please, Mr. Anderson, go ahead.
In the light of what the governor vetoed, it does appear that there's a lot of hesitancy about light rail. 1, where is the maintenance? 2, MAG at this level did not ever review the LPAs. And the question is more readily a cost benefit analysis. There's a lot of studies out there that says rubber tired are becoming more viable than light rail due to cost, acquisitions, maintenance, and staging locations. I hesitate to say that maybe that time has passed and rubber tired seems to be more flexible based upon movements and traffic locations and things of that nature. And we don't even know how this will affect the traffic flows in those areas where they're going to add and reduce number of lanes. So I would suggest we have a better presentation on the LPAs and evaluate ourselves if that is justified of spending this money in an area where we don't even have maintenance money. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I might respond.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson, for your comment. I would encourage you to visit the LPA report. There is quite a bit of analysis that went into the traffic analysis that is available in that report, as well as other information, basically justifying why this alignment was chosen. But thank you for your comment.
If I may follow up, it's what I said, that I think a presentation on that by the ones that made it or the people that are reviewing it be presented to a high-level MAG committee in order for our own judgments. And I certainly understand, I can read it and understand, but it might be better to have ability to ask questions at that time.
Mr. Anderson, are you asking that be done before action is taken on this item?
Yes, I am.
I accept your comment. Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions before we entertain a motion?
Mr. Chair, this is Keeney, City of Phoenix.
Please go ahead.
So, Mr. Chair, Mr. Anderson, just wanted to cover that when your specific questions about maintenance, under existing Proposition 400 transportation plan, maintenance and ongoing operations cannot be funded out of that funding source. So funding for maintenance and operations is taken care of at a local level. In Phoenix, we have a combination of transportation 2050 funds and other local funds that are able to fund the operation of light rail, at least for the operation within the city of Phoenix. So I want to make sure that's clear. So that would not be coming from any proposition extension funds.
Thank you, Mr.
May I
Knudsen.
follow up?
Yes, Grant, go ahead.
I could not hear the presenter do the background noise, and we have not seen what he is talking about in terms of maintenance funds available. So I defer again to the problem that I could not readily understand what he was saying.
As I understand, I work for the city of Mesa, and it's the same issue here. Light rail maintenance is not provided by regional funds. It is local funding that provides for the maintenance of the light rail system.
I certainly understand. And that happened to be one of the problems that the governor had with the new proposition. So the funds that were available, let's say through the city of Phoenix to maintain this in long-term future, are they still going to be there, or will they have a change of mind? It is year-to-year budgeting and therefore not guaranteed.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Please.
So, Mr. Chair, Mr. Anderson, members of the committee, we have what I mentioned was Transportation 2050 funding, and that is actually through 2050. So we have a dedicated 0.7% sales tax, a portion of which is dedicated to the operation and maintenance, or the portion of for Phoenix for light rail. So this, the funding for this project and the current projects and any future projects would be budgeted and accommodated with local transportation funding. And it's not year to year.
Thank you, Mr. Knudsen.
I understand, and I defer that part. Certainly, we want to see future movements and transportation habits that there has been indicated that somebody looked at those and thought they were reasonable. It'd be nice to get some more information. Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions before we entertain a motion?
Hey, Chair, I have a question. Can I know what is the fare box value or revenue for this project? It should be in the report to somebody.
Can MAG staff or Mr. Knudsen, do you know what the fare box recovery is for light rail?
I will address that question. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I don't have that information in front of me right now, but I'd be happy to follow up offline and provide that information.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we move on to a motion, are there any other questions? Hearing none, is there a motion to recommend approval of the locally preferred alternative for the Capital Extension Light Rail Project and revised open to service date of December 31st, 2027 in the Momentum 2050 MAG Regional Transportation Plan contingent on a finding of air quality conformity?
So moved, City of Phoenix.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Who made that? Second?
Henry with Valley Metro.
Thank you. Linda, we have a motion and a second. Will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Chair. When I call your name, please indicate how you vote. Shahid Abbas.
Aye.
Thank you. Grant Anderson.
No.
Thank you. Keith Brown.
Aye.
Thank you. Jason Crampton.
Aye.
Thank you. Kristen Tytler.
Aye.
Thank you. Keith Dranowski.
Abstain.
Thank you. Jason Hafner.
Aye.
Thank you. Henry Ikwa.
Aye.
Thank you. David Janover.
Aye.
Thank you. Kenny Knudsen.
Aye.
Thank you. Scott Lowe.
Aye.
Thank you. Adina Lund.
Aye.
Thank you. Mark Melichenko.
Aye.
Thank you. Sumit Mohan.
Aye.
Thank you. Paul Mood.
Aye.
Thank you. Paul Patney.
Aye.
Thank you. Shelley Seiler.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Bob Thaxton.
Aye.
Thank you. Raj Thotum.
Aye.
Thank you. Chris Wanamaker.
Aye.
Thank you. Mike Weber.
Aye.
Thank you. Mohammed Yosef.
Aye.
Thank you. And Chair, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Have I missed anybody? Chair, the motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 7, member agency updates. Are there any announcements by TRC members?
This is Chris from Pinal County.
Please, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'd just like to briefly mention, that the SR24 extension was opened last month, and we received mostly positive feedback for that. And Pinal County is working on a plan right now to extend that 24 all the way to US 60. In fact, we got a $15 million appropriation from the state to acquire the right-of-way, and we'll be starting the environmental studies here real soon. And we're also working on what we're going to call the Arizona Central Parkway, which will go from the 24 south eventually to Arizona Farms Road. And we're expecting to have, our goal, I guess, is to have the first phase, which is SR24 south to Ocotillo Road, under construction within 3 years. So it's a pretty ambitious goal, but it's something that is really needed for the region and to support economic development. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that information. Are there any other announcements? Hearing none, move on to item number 8, requests for future agenda items. Are there any requests by a TRC member for a future agenda item? Thank you. Hearing none. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October 27th at 10 a.m. With no further business, this meeting of the MAG TRC is adjourned at 10:39 a.m. Thank you, and we'll see you all again next month.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Take care all.